what is a Christian's expectation or role, you would say, in changing culture or shaping culture? Or is that not even a Christian's responsibility? Is it so much to focus on oneself and the ministry of your family that it should just be a wholesale rejection of culture?
Yeah, I don't believe in the idea that we should go underground into catacombs and completely isolate ourselves from others. There have been times during persecution where that was necessary, but it was never a positive good, and it's not something that we should look to emulate. I think that someone who is truly engaged with the Lord, loves others, even monks, who believe in living completely by themselves without any support system, whatever, in a hermit-like existence. They only do so because they're part of the 0.1% that has a calling to love the whole world in that particular specific way, and they feel that's how they're connected with the rest of the world. For everyone else, I think that if we truly love God, it will bring out our talents, skills, and abilities to serve others, to love others, and we will create culture by using our gifts, which have been implanted in us and magnified by the use of the power of the Holy Spirit.
I'm working on a thesis here, and that fact you brought up earlier about 1800 to 1970, I think ties into this, that one of the reasons why our faith has been so weakened, and we talked about Tertullian earlier in the show to prove this point a bit, is that things are too good, we're too prosperous. And there's not enough suffering. But then you're like, oh, well, there is suffering in the world, right? So I don't know how to make sense of it. Are you following with what I'm saying here? I think we've lived too prosperous. We're too soft. We feel like we don't need God. We don't need to rely on him. But also, there's so much suffering and people are suffering all the time. So why don't people turn to God in the midst of even the suffering that we experience now? Yeah, we're not thrown in Roman prisons like the martyrs of yore, but there's still suffering. How do you help me make sense of that?
No, I believe you're absolutely right. And even with the suffering around the world, there is less suffering and less poverty than there's been at any time in human history. I mean, we hit the genetic lottery to be born at this point in time, because if you look at the great hockey stick of human prosperity, we're living at the absolute apex when it comes to this. Even the world, I believe is the World Bank, measures global poverty, and they had to change the measure of global poverty so that it would be above 10%. We were going to fall below 10% global poverty for the first time in history. So we have less suffering, and you're right, that's when we get indulgent, just like in the book of Judges, where when things were difficult, they cried out for a deliverer, and then when the deliverance came, they went right back to the way they had been. And in the desert, they were talking about the leeks and garlic and all the good things in Egypt that they missed. It's absolutely true for us. On the other hand, persecution has never harmed the church. One of the great saints said, the blood of the martyrs is the seed of the church.
So I love all that. But the suffering that does exist in the world today, why aren't more people perhaps turning to God in that moment? They're turning to who knows what else. Self-help, whatever New Age hooey is out there.
Yeah. Oh, they absolutely are. They are turning to Christianity. It's just that most of that suffering isn't in North America. It's in places like Rwanda and Sudan and sub-Saharan Africa, Nigeria, where Christianity is on fire and exploding. And they're turning to other religions as well, of course, to Islam. But Christianity more volitionally, we might say, when it comes to the spread of the faith. So they really are turning to that. Part of the issue is in North America, we no longer have the culture that says this is where you find help, where you find grace. Christianity has been officially categorized by the U.S. government as a non-essential service during a time of pandemic. So we can officially be laid aside as one source of help during the greatest pandemic that we've seen in the last 100 years. So we need to realize that Christianity does bring the healing balm of Christ. And I think we also need to remember to pray. And I know people say this and it sounds trite, and people hate when people say, well, let's go and pray. But it's absolutely true. If you believe in God, prayer, when it's matched with the power and the will of God, takes the hand of God and extends it into the lives of other people and changes the world.
Hey, Slater Crusaders, our special is called Have We Lost Our Faith in America? And the answer is yes, of course. On this special, we're going to share a couple different stories of martyrs, Perpetua being the biggest. We'll tell the story of Tertullian thousands of years ago. How are these stories relevant to us in America today? And then we have two amazing guests who are going to talk about what is a Christian's role in our broken culture and in our broken government. Some of the things that we're going to discuss on our special, Have We Lost Our Faith in America. Available now on the First TV app. You can download it for free in the App Store.